One last property we have to cover today is rational exponents. So rational exponents are fractions in the exponent position. So if you have a to the m over n power, you can write that as the nth root of a all to the m power, or you can simplify that to the nth root of a to the m. So if we have negative 16 to the 2/3, we could rewrite that as the cube root of negative 16, all of that squared. Or we could rewrite it as the cube root of negative 16 squared. Again, we could simplify this, but just to show you the properties of rational exponents, we can leave it like this and maybe simplify it in class. So for your examples down here, these ones we do ask you to simplify. So for example 9, you can change this to the square root of 27 cubed. If you want, you could go ahead and cube 27 and then try to break that number down, but I think that's going to be a little tedious. So hopefully you recognize that 27 is 3 cubed. And then again, our 27 up here was cubed, so we have to cube that. So essentially, that means we have 3 to the 9th power underneath that radical. So again, you could ask yourself, how many times does 2 go into 9? And the answer is 4. And you would have 1 left over. So the final answer is 81 square root of 3. You can do the same thing for number 10, example 10. Example 11 is a little bit sketchy because we have a negative sign also in the exponent with a fraction. So remember, negatives mean to take the reciprocal, so 9 over 4y cubed to the 4/3. And then we can switch that to the cube root of 9 over 4y cubed to the 4th. And it's not in simplest form since the exponent is bigger than the index. So you could ask yourself, how many times does 3 go into 4? It goes in there once. And you would have 1 left over. Then from here, we can also simplify this because we have another exponent that matches our index. So we could also pull out a 1 over y and leave our 9/4. So if we simplify the outside, we would have 9 over 4y to the 4th times the cube root of 9/4. Again, we're not all the way to simplest form because we still have a fraction underneath the radical, but we will talk about that in class or tomorrow. One last thing, then you might see this in your textbook. You have the 4th root of the square root of z. It may help you to write these with rational exponents in order to simplify them. So the square root of z, you could write as z to the 1/2 power. And then we could rewrite that to the 1/4 power to take into account that 4th root. And then we should have learned from section C that when you have exponents as a power to a power, you multiply those. So it'd be z to the 1/8 power, or since we started in radical form, we should finish in radical form, and we can leave it as the 8th root of z. I'll leave 13 for you to try on your own, or we'll talk about it in class tomorrow.